Today, we are debuting a brand new product, very similar to the former Aleva Chill cold therapy tub. Today, you get to experience our newest lineup, our newest part of the lineup, which is the NordPod. And the NordPod Ice Recovery Bath, very similar. We are developing a whole line of the NordPod technology. This is going to be your entry level product selling for $89.99 on Amazon, as well as our Life Pro website. This is portable. It's easy to put together, to take down. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up, how to fill it up, and how to ease into your first cold therapy experience. I'm in the process right now of creating a whole series of informative videos for those of you at home who want to get into the comfort zone of cold water therapy, but just don't understand much about it. We're currently working on some videos that include the science behind it, the protocols in place for beginner, intermediate, and advanced, the benefits and the theories behind the benefits, the risks that are associated with how to be safe with it, and the amount of time and the times per week that you have to experience cold therapy in order to be able to actually experience the benefits on the back end of it. So today, I'm just going to be showing you the Life Pro NordPod, which just came out. And again, Life Pro is working on innovating and creating new, bigger, better, higher end NordPod series products, all the way from a semi portable or semi-permanent, however you want to look at it, NordPod that has a chiller, a motor that actually keeps it chilled so you don't have to put ice in it every day. I'm not going to be finishing today with ice because I want to show you that the faucet water here out of the hose is going to be equivalent to about 60 degrees. We've tested that before. And when you are a beginner just trying to get into cold water for the first time, 60 degrees is pretty cold. And that's where you want to start. So we're not going to show you the ice application today, but if you take a look at our YouTube channel and our VIP Facebook group, as well as our regular Facebook page, you will find the series of videos that I'm creating right now that you can follow at whenever you purchase your future product that becomes available in the near future. And then you'll understand how to apply different things, but you won't have to wait for the whole conversation with the new product. You can just go straight to the video as to the science behind it. And we're going to make it very, very easy for you to learn and to experience the great benefits and the longevity improvements of life so that you can live your best life forward with Life Pro. So again, this is what it looks like on the outside of the box. On the top of the box, you've got a QR code that shows if you use your smartphone using the camera feature, it'll pull up the website on how to do quick assembly. If you don't want to watch through all this and you want a very quick go-to video, keep your box and use that code to have access to a pre-recorded video. Okay, let's talk about the moving parts that go into the new NordPod. We've got our poles, or they call these the legs, that hold up the pod itself. And the pod itself, the inside diameter of this is 2.62 feet, okay? The actual tub is going to be about 3 inches across, 2.5, I'm sorry, it's that's not correct. I said inches. Let's go correct it. It is hot outside today. It's a great day, but the heat can make you think a little different. So when you get in here, though, it's going to be about 3 feet across, and it's going to be about 2.5 feet tall. This is actually made for somebody as tall as 6'7" to fit in here. It holds about 102 gallons. This is called 100 gallons just to make it easy. The max temperature that this vinyl can tolerate is 122 degrees. So you can actually turn this into a hot therapy tub. And the minimum temperature that it has to have is -4 degrees. Now, let me give you a little insight here, friends. If you are using our NordPod at -4 degrees, you're not going to last very long because -4 degrees is really hard to attain. But for those of you who live in Antarctica or are living in very, very cold environments and are able to experience the -4 degrees, and you want to pack this along in your pack in order to set it up out in nature bathing, it can handle -4 degrees. It is a ripstop polyester on the outside, and on the inside, it's a PVC that's really easy to wipe down and clean. Here, this little plastic piece, this is actually an inflatable headrest. And in having that attachment, we've got an inflatable headrest that goes around the perimeter of the pod. And then we have our cover. So if you don't want to drain the water and you want to preserve the water and keep the ice in, this is not an insulated cover, but it will keep the bugs out. It will keep leaves and animals from wanting to go for a little swim. But the cover comes with it with a little cinch cord so that you can tighten it down. When we used the Aleva Chill last year, we were able to keep it out here for days. Actually, I think we ended up keeping it out here for a good couple of weeks and went to take this cover off in order to just check and see what the water was like. And it was actually pretty good without having any chemicals. So if you choose to use chemicals, that's your business. But if it's not circulating the water, the chemicals really don't help much. So we've got the NordPod is created to quickly drain it and quickly fill it. We have our enclosed pump, and the pump is used to inflate the headrest around the perimeter. If you should get a hole in your vinyl, your vinyl or your polyester, we do have a repair kit that comes with your product. And remember that the NordPod that we are featuring today has, just like all of our other Life Pro products, a lifetime warranty. So when you get your product, you want to make sure and contact customer service, we have a website that you can go to, and that's on this page right here. If you scan that QR code with your phone, it'll take you directly to the site in order to register your product, your warranty, so that you have protection for the lifetime of the product. And if you have any trouble with it maintaining water, holding water, gets a hole in it, whatever challenge you might run into, you can use that in order to register, and then we'll take care of you. So if you do happen to have a problem, don't go on Facebook and post, or don't go on Amazon and post a bad review. Give us a call first so we can have a chance to fix your problem. The number that you can call for customer service is 800-563-6604, and you can reach that hotline Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, Eastern Standard Time is 3 hours ahead of the West Coast. And on the weekends, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we do work on the weekends, and give our customer service a chance to get back with you. If you leave a message, or if you get disconnected and you are waiting for a couple of days, it might take a couple of days, because we are serving millions of people globally, just not in the United States, not in Canada, not in, I've got a gentleman who calls me from the Philippines to get some products. So we've got people all over the world who are interacting and loving our products. So just make sure and give us a chance. If you happen to have a bad experience, we want to make it right, and our customer service is world class. We're here to help you. So again, that number is 800-563-6604, Monday through Friday from 9 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, weekends 10 to 3. And if you want to email instead of calling, then you can contact us via email, support@lifeprofitness.com. Again, that is support@lifeprofitness.com. So we have our vinyl repair kit. We have our warranty registration card. Those are the important things to remember when it comes to your product, because I'm sure if you happen to have a hole in your tub, you could get a pull repair kit and it would work just fine. Now, this little apparatus here is not a noisemaker, but if you have kids at home that want to play music, you can use it for that. This is actually an adapter for your faucet or your hose. So if you have trouble with having the ability, you don't have a hose that has a connection point that will work with this, or you're wanting to attach this to a sink and then flow it in. We've actually tried that before. It can be a little tricky. But this is an adapter hose to go to your regular hose. So if you got a big hose, small hose, and made to work with a faucet if you have to, or it can be used as a musical instrument for your kiddos. Good entertainment there. So hold on to that. If you should need it, great. If you don't, then turn it into something fun for entertainment. Okay, you're also going to get with your kit, if you decide that you want to carry it along with you. I've got a lot of athletes that take these with them to hotels when they travel for sports, and it fits nice and neat in this carry bag with these handles. All your moving parts will go in there, and it gives you the opportunity to pack it up and take it along. It's super, super lightweight to carry around. Super heavy though when it's full. So if it is full, you want to make sure. I've got a yoga mat, an exercise mat underneath of mine, so that when I'm actually getting into it and I'm on my knees, if I want to be on my knees or my bum, it is not a really uncomfortable surface. So I highly recommend that you put a mat underneath of your NordPod so that it's a little more soft with where you're sitting. But this is a little carry bag that you can pack it up, throw it in the car, take it along with you to athletic events, or if you're traveling for work. and you want to take it to a hotel or a VRBO rental home, whatever you want to do. But we do provide that. So let's go ahead and get started. Talk about the different parts of the NordPod, and you're going to see here along the outside. This is a much different setup than what our original Leave It Chill tub is. It'll show you on here. If you turn one direction, it'll say open. If you turn the other direction, it'll say closed. You want to make sure that when you are filling up your tub, that this valve is turned to closed, because we want the water to stay in the pod. And when you're ready to drain it, I would highly recommend that you make sure you're draining it downhill, and you're draining it from you're draining it from behind the pod, not in front of, so it has to run through underneath, because this thing weighs a lot when it's full, so it'll just pull around the outside. So just make sure that when you are setting your pot up, before you fill it up with water, that you make sure that this is rotated to closed. Right now it is closed. So we go to close, and if we rotate, so if it's open, you'll see that there's a little lip in there that's exposed. When it's closed, it seals up and you can't see the black ring. So if you can see the big black ring, it's wide open and ready to leak. Don't do that unless you're ready. So close it up. And then again, I would highly encourage you to make sure that the valve that you use to drain it is on the back side going downhill, so that it's more efficient. That's it. Other than that, that's the only recommendation I have for how you set it up, positioning in your space, in your yard. You can use this in a garage. You can use it in, if you have a big walk-in shower and you don't have a garage space. If you're, I would suggest that if you are in apartment living, you better make sure that you've got an out to getting rid of the water if you're wanting to set it up inside your shower. But it's only 3 feet across in diameter, so you can work with it however you need to fit your needs, but it is very user friendly for a variety of different locations and applications. So let's go ahead and move some things around a little bit here. Again, it is hot out today. It's 90 degrees today here in Indiana. So it's a perfect day to be playing with the pod. And I don't want this to fly away, so we'll just cinch that down. You know it works. Okay, so like I said, I've got just a regular exercise mat down here, and it won't cover the whole 3 feet, but it'll make it a little bit more comfortable once I get into it. Make sure you've got some towels, make sure you got some water, because once you get yourself set up, you want to be able to enjoy the experience. So I've got this kneeling pad. The kneeling pad is really nice to be able to use in order to help set it up if you are outdoors, and it's really nice to put inside the pod, so that when you are on your knees, or if you just want to sit on it without sitting completely flat, you have a little soft that you can sit on. I also, for my purposes, I don't like it when my feet get excruciatingly cold, because nerve endings are there. The first 3 minutes of this NordPod experience is going to be borderline miserable if you're not used to it. And these little neoprene foot boots make it so much more comfortable and tolerable, because 80% of the nerve cells that provide our brain with feedback, sensory around our space and center of gravity, are on the skin on the bottom of our feet. And we have a lot of nerves that are down there. So if we are able to cover up the bottom of our feet with these neoprene booties, which actually keep things nice and comfortable, you'll still feel the cold, but you won't feel it as bad. But if you get those, you can find these on Amazon for maybe $10 a pair, $20 on a super high end. It is well worth your dollars. But they're just neoprene water socks. So, and they even just make toe caps. So if you don't want the full boot, you can just get toe caps. We used to use those. I've been in sports medicine since the early 2000s, and we use those with our Whirlpool applications with collegiate football players. So it makes it a little bit more tolerable. Now, we've got, you're going to see, it doesn't matter where you start, but you're going to see these little white dots all the way around the NordPod. Those little white dots are the input for your legs. And we've got all these little stands. Now, we have a bottom that is completely flat with a nice rubber stopper. And we have the top, which is rounded. You're going to put the rounded at the top and the flat stopper at the bottom, because it gets traction, okay? So in putting this in, we're going to take this, doesn't matter where you start, and you're going to run it through the white hole Okay, and you got to get a little creative in creating that space there to get it started. There we go. And it's not going to want to set up very easy on its own, but when it starts to fill up with water, it's quite convenient in how quickly it becomes adapting. So we're going to get these going. I'm going to start filling it up after I get all the legs in, and then I'll inflate the top because it takes a good 5-10 minutes, just depends on your water pressure, honestly, and as to how long it takes to fill up. And while it's filling up, I'm going to talk to you about some of the benefits, the safety precautions that you want to consider, you know, some of the protocols that you can use. Yeah, so we're just going one hole at a time. And again, we've got 3 in now. So it takes really, I've been talking for more than 5 minutes, but it only takes about 5 minutes to get this thing set up and going. So it's really, really low maintenance. Okay, we're going to keep on rolling here. We've got, again, $89.99 on Amazon, as well as available on the LifePro page. If you have our formerly known Alleviate Chill tub, very similar. This one's a lot better, in my opinion, from what I have, because I've got both of them. And I really like the way that this one is built. The valve that opens and closes, the headrest, the cover, it's a great product. So, and if you're wanting something more, if you're just getting started, you don't need anything elaborate to get started, to making sure that you actually can get yourself acclimated, because it takes a little while to acclimate. It can take up to a month for you to get acclimated into using a cold therapy tub. And those who are extremists, once they get into a routine, it takes your body 15 days to create a habit, and it takes 30 days minimum for you to start to experience the major, major changes that come with those habits that then become automatic because you love the results. So you want to make sure to love this before you go spend a lot of money. You can spend up to 10 grand on a self-contained, disinfecting, cold therapy tub that's temperature regulated, chemical regulated. And that's a lot of money if you don't know if you're going to like it or not. But $89, can't go wrong with that with a lifetime warranty. So kudos to LifePro for that. So again, we're going to want to position this so that the drain valve is on the back side so we don't make a big mess. Okay. So as you can see, it doesn't want to cooperate with holding up. So this is where we start filling it up with water, because when it starts to fill up, it starts to take its shape. Now you have this drain plug, and then you've also got one on the bottom right here. I can stick my finger through it. You want to make sure and seal that up on the inside, or you're not going to have water in your tub. So it's quite nice to have both drain ports. You can work with them both together at the same time, so you're maximizing your time when you're ready to drain. And we will see how well this works. I actually tried this last year, and we had a hose mess that was really funny, trying to get control over the hose because of water pressure. Correction on the pricing for today. And again, pricing can change, it can fluctuate. If you use the code AMBER10 or you click on the link provided, that's going to give you your hot price at $89. Otherwise, it is $99.99. So I'm standing corrected on that. It's $99 if you don't use Amber's code. It's $89.99 if you do use my code. So it's pretty nice. Use the code. And if they are running specials on them, then you can't use the code at the same time. They're pretty particular about that. Okay, so we've got the hose on, and the water is coming out pretty warm right now because it's hot outside. I'm just making sure we get some good water pressure going. And you got to make sure you get the water actually in the pod. So we got that in there. Good to go there. So while I'm doing that, now we're going to take this little foot pump so that you don't have to use, something with your mouth. We're using this little foot pump that has a little attachment valve. It goes around the top perimeter. There's a little port right here on the inside. You're going to slide it in there like that. Whew. You got to make sure that the hose is pointed down so you don't get wet. That's always fun. And again, you gotta make sure you got the water inside the pod, which is easier said than done. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my mat and stand it up for a little extra support. But when the pressure gets straight, the hose likes to dance like that. So there's always an adventure with hoses. So I think what I shall do is actually take this sprayer off. It's quite convenient when you're watering flowers. Not so convenient when you're trying to just fill up the pod. So I'm going to take that off because I just got really wet. But it's fun. You got to expect the unexpected, right? Okay, now we're good. So the hose is now filling up. And like I said, as it gets some weight in it with the water, the weight of water makes a big difference. It'll get easier and easier for you. Okay, now we're going to use this to inflate the top perimeter headrest. So you're going to put that on the ground. You're going to step on it. You can use your hands if you want to. Totally your choice. But you're going to use that to inflate your headrest. So I'm just using my hand right here. It works just fine. A little whistle that goes with it. If you don't like high-pitched noises, the pump can get a little annoying. Okay, let's talk about cold therapy while I'm doing this. So you're not observing me just pumping away. Cold therapy can be a lot of different things. It can be a cold shower after a long hot day like today. It can be an ice bath after a strenuous workout, which is what a lot of people are doing. And there we go. Now we're starting to get set up. So see how fast that sets up. Now you just got to make sure that your pump is attached to the headrest here, because there we go. It can be an ice bath after a strenuous workout. A lot of studies are now showing that if you're trying to boost testosterone, human growth hormone, if you take a cold plunge first thing in the morning when you wake up and then go immediately to the gym, it will boost testosterone levels much higher during your workout than if you did the cold plunge after your workout. I've read a lot of studies about that here lately. And this is where this gets hard, because the more inflated it becomes, the harder it is to squeeze. So, but just remember, if you get it in the morning, a lot of people are getting into routine, their miracle or magic morning. When you get it in the morning, you are helping your mind, body, and spirit to reset for the whole day, which changes dopamine and other happy hormones. So that's how quickly that's set up. It just kind of holds itself up there. And now it's too heavy to move. So make sure you know exactly where you want it before you get it into place. Because it's really heavy to move if you don't like where it's at. Yeah, I can't even move it if I wanted to right now. So, like I said, when it comes to cold water therapy, you can be looking at a cold shower for those of you who are just getting started. This water temperature is going to be about 60 degrees. The ideal temperature for getting into cold water immersion is going to be between 50 and 55 degrees. And for those who are extremists, who are advanced, who are really comfortable with what they're doing, you're looking at about 42 degrees. But those are really diehard go-getters, and there is a whole process of breathing and deep meditation that goes along with that. So if you're not used to that, you don't want to just start at 42 degrees. You're going to suffer some hypothermia and your body's going to go into shock. So don't do that. Let's start nice and easy with the basics. And remember, 50 to 55 degrees is ideal temperature for cold water immersion. If you are a beginner, 60 degrees is the temperature of the garden hose water on cold. So that works out really nice. This is going to feel great because it is a very, very hot day today. And when it's not a very hot day today and it's really, really cold, then it's really hard to get into cold water immersion because you're dealing with the earth temperature and you're dealing with the water temperature. So just be conscious of that. It's not going to be the same experience every time you get in it. So, but what we do know with cold water immersion is that, or cold therapy, it goes all the way back to 3500 BCE. It improves overall longevity of life. It rejuvenates. It puts your body through a restorative state much quicker. If you are familiar with Wim Hof breathing, or the guy known as the Iceman, he did a study on himself basically, and he went. Um, he's in the he's a Dutchman, and when he was trying to figure out how Cole really works with everything. He's an extreme athlete. He is known for setting and breaking world records of cold exposure, not cold water immersion, but cold exposure, which is totally different than water immersion. But swimming underneath an ice block for 217 feet, standing in a chamber or a container full of ice cubes for 111 minutes or 112 minutes, I'm just going to tell you there are three things that have to happen if you're going to make it through that. You have to do what is called Wim Hof breathing or meditational relaxation breathing so you can control your panic response, which is what a lot of Navy SEALs military have to go through in order to prepare and train their nervous systems and their hormone fluctuation when we are in a state of fight or flight. But you also have to have the cold, and you also have to have a mental meditation that goes with that. So if you get into the NordPod because you're trying to prove a point or you're trying to do an ice challenge or a cold water challenge, if you huff and you puff and you breathe excessively, which is hyperventilation, it can put you into a state of hypothermia, and it can cause some trouble with your vagus nerve, which is our 10th cranial nerve, which kind of is the switch, the light switch to fight or flight, which is our sympathetic nervous system, and uh, recovery and restoration, which is what we're trying to accomplish with our parasympathetic nervous system. So if you find as you're getting into your NordPod that you are shivering a lot, you're not your skin is kind of white and gray or yellow, and you're completely numb. Your skin is unusually firm or waxy. You're feeling unusually exhausted. You're drowsy. You're confused. You're starting to slur speech. Don't get in here with alcohol, please. You have fumbling hands, shakiness. Those are all signs of hypothermia, and it would be in your best interest to get out. That being said, when it comes to safety, if you have trouble with balance, okay, make sure that you've got other props around you, because when we become numb, it takes 3 to 5 minutes for your body to become completely numb from cold water immersion. And when our body is completely numb, we don't feel we're not able to react and respond the same way. So it's harder to balance, it's harder to feel, it's harder to adjust and adapt. So make sure, I highly recommend, if you're not used to cold water immersion, you don't want to be alone when you're trying it for the first couple of times. We want to make sure that we're able to keep safety as a top priority. What are some risks that go along with, or side effects that can happen with cold water immersion, whether it's with the NordPod or whether it's with, a tub full of ice cubes, or maybe just a cold shower? Ice burn is known to be one of them, in which you get blisters and you get discolorated or discolored red and white gray skin. That also can be referred to as a form of frostbite, which actually kills your tissue and causes permanent skin damage. So we want to make sure, that's why I said, make sure you just start with 3 minutes of immersion instead of submerging yourself for 10, 15 minutes your first time. I'm an experienced user. This is part of the science that I work as an expert. So I've been here, done that. So we don't have to worry about just getting acclimated with 5 minutes. But if you're new to this, you can even just start with a body part, which means you would have to have something to sit on the perimeter, but you would just put your feet in and see how your feet do, even with the neoprene booties. And if you don't have skin turning different colors, then it's going to turn red or a purple color, because that's what happens when blood flow becomes restricted. But if there's other things that come along with it, especially blisters, that can happen, especially with extreme cold. So that 42 degrees minus that, that's when you're going to be really careful. So nerve damage, it decreases blood flow to the perimeter, the peripheral nerves, as well as the extremities. So you can actually cause tissue death, which is very similar to frostbite. We can cause neuropathy. So if you have neuropathy issues, if you can't feel your legs, can't feel your hands, you can actually cause more permanent problems with that. So make sure and talk with your doctor if you are wanting to experience cold water therapy and you already have an underlying neurological problem. We're going to turn the faucet off. Okay, now we got the water filled up. I'm going to bring the camera over so you can see kind of what this looks like all filled up. Now that we're up to about the right height. You're not going to go completely over because when you get in it, it's going to overflow, which is totally cool unless it's inside your house. That's not a good idea. And it's not a good idea if you do that. And if you are in a cold area where the temperature is sub 30, you're creating an ice block around you on the ground. So do be careful with that too, because we don't want you to create an ice block by getting in and then you get out and you slip and bust your chops because you overflowed and you've got water everywhere. Nerve damage is where I left off. Number 3 is you can develop hives, and hives is just a histamine response when the body recognizes that there's something that's wrong. And so the body goes to stimulate a rash with hives. You get itchy welts. They'll go away. But the problem where we run into is if your lips or your throat start to swell because of the hives, that is more of a medical emergency. So if you get swollen lips or you have trouble with your throat swelling, get out and get help because that is something that can happen with cold water therapy, but it is not specific to the NordPod. It's just some people respond that way to cold water therapy. Now, let's talk about heart and lung conditions. If you already have an underlying heart issue, you're going to want to talk to your cardiologist or your pulmonologist when it comes to heart and lungs, because if you have an irregular heartbeat, we need to be mindful of that because there's breathing that goes with this. And when you get into cold water immersion, your cold water therapy, you are actually restricting, you're tightening down the vessels, which means the oxygen that's flowing through your lungs and the blood flowing through your heart becomes less, which can cause some challenges. So make sure that you talk to your physician with whatever specialty you're working with, and making sure that they are aware that you're looking into cold water therapy, because there are other types of cold water therapy that you can access without having to do a portable pod. You can do a cryo chamber for 3 minutes under medical supervision. There are a lot of those all over the country, and those have been around for a while. But the other one is pulmonary edema, which means you get fluid buildup in the lungs because of the body fight or flight response. So if you have lung problems and you're using cold water therapy, just be aware that that can cause a heightened inflammatory response with pulmonary edema, fluid buildup, and we got to make sure that we're keeping those passages clear. Number 5, this has actually happened to me a couple of times, Raynaud's syndrome. And Raynaud's syndrome can be an autoimmune response, but it can also be something that people deal with all the time. I have been very specific when I was pregnant and when I was on a specific medication, it was a side effect. But Raynaud's syndrome is when your fingers, your palms, your feet, and your toes, the vessels to those areas become more narrowed and restricted, so it shuts blood flow down. And then your fingers and your toes turn white, red, purple, blue, and you can't feel and you can't grip and you can't really sense. That is something, again, that some people deal with that is on a case-by-case basis, or individuals can actually have that as an underlying autoimmune response, and you just have to know that that's what you're up against. And so in that case, you're going to want to put the booties on and you're going to want to put insulating gloves on in order to help so that you have grip so you can help with balance and neurosensory, okay? So we talked about hypothermia, we talked about ice burns, nerve damage, neuropathy, hives, heart and lung conditions, and Raynaud's syndrome. As I get in here, I'm going to talk to you about all the amazing benefits, and today I'm going to share with you 9. But I'm going to put my little booties on here first because I don't want to be huffing and puffing and screaming at the camera, because I do this and I really like it with the booties on better. I can enjoy it. If you can find a way to enjoy this as a meditational response, it is so much better than if you are just trying to suck it up. It might take you a few times to suck it up. I always tell people the first 2 times are absolute challenging, good mental toughness, but it takes a few times to get used to it. So if you happen to have any questions for me before I hop in, let me know. But if you're wanting to lose weight, if you're wanting to get ripped out, if you're wanting to reduce systemic inflammation from an autoimmune response or an injury, you're exhausted and mentally going through some stuff, it's awesome. So I've got some of that stuff, so it's going to be great. Make sure you have water handy. Make sure that you've got towels handy when you need them. And let's have some fun. So I was going to wear my swimsuit for y'all today, but decided just to wear my tank top today. But again, I don't have this completely full. I'm going to grab the camera and bring you over here to check this out so you can see it up close in person. But that's what it looks like with my floating pad. Okay. I've got it filled up to just maybe 4 inches from the headrest. So once I get in, it's going to go over the top because our body takes up more space, which causes the water to shift. So you don't have to fill it all the way up to the black rim. You can fill it up as much as you want to. If you have an injury and you only want to use it for like your knee or your foot, ankle, you don't even have to fill up more than halfway. So whatever works for you, just remember it's your treatment, it's your opportunity, and you can do whatever you like. And there's a lot of flexibility with this. So I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so I can share with you the breathing technique here that goes along with it. I'm short, so it's going to be really fun to try and reach that bottle of water over there. But yeah, this is really cold, like pool water cold, like brand new pool water, but not hot outside. And so some of you just might want to get used to just standing like this. All right, this is a great way just to get acclimated. You don't have to do it all at once. In fact, the body will go more into shock the more of your core, your torso that you get into the water. We've got a lot of organs going on here. We've got a lot of vessels. So if you want to just start with your thighs, I'm just right above my knees right now. You can totally do that. I'm starting to get used to it. So now I'm going to lower myself a little bit more, and I can put my arms here on the sides. You don't want to load like I'm doing a tricep dip, but whew, yeah. So now once you get it above your pelvis, it changes things because your pelvis has a lot of nerves that are associated all the way up to your cranial area. In fact, the vagus nerve ends in the pelvic girdle. So if the vagus nerve is your stay alive or let's pass out so we don't hurt ourselves. So our vagus nerve is responsible for our body healing or continuing to go, 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 go. And so I'm going to slowly lower myself here and get used to this. Again, this type of therapy dates back to 3500 BC. And a lot of it started back with the Roman Empire in Greece and in the Egyptian area. And a lot of it, this is what they did in order to stay alive and deal with wound management and restoring injuries and fatigue from fighting and soldiers and all that good stuff. When they're building all these elaborate things, they would use cold water therapy in order to heal their bodies because it's very natural. And they wouldn't necessarily do it in these pods. They might actually just go get into a water source like a lake or a pond or a creek side or whatever. I would say they didn't have ponds back then because those are hand dug, right? or mechanically dug. Whew! So breathing, let's talk about that. Because I'm talking to you, I'm not holding my breath. I'm using my diaphragm to breathe, which means I am in a complete state of control with my mental well-being as well as my nervous system. Our nervous system is split into two main nervous systems. We have our central nervous system, which includes our brain, our heart, and our lungs. That is what keeps us alive, okay? Our central nervous system. Airway, breathing, circulation, ABCs of the central nervous system. Beyond that, we have the autonomic nervous system, which is then split off between fight or flight. I'm going to have to escape the lion that's trying to eat me and is chasing me down. Go, 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 go. Or my body really needs to rest and recover and heal itself because our body has the ability to restore itself if we would just get out of the way and let it do it. So that's where the NordPod comes into place, is to really tap into that parasympathetic, the autonomic nervous system, really enhancing the parasympathetic nervous system. And we do that by controlling our fight or flight response, our shock response. And we do that through breathing. And so when we're talking out loud, singing out loud, laughing out loud, so we don't cry, right? I see that a lot in my business. When we do that, then we are able to control heart rate. We're able to control breathing. We're able to control our body's response, not going into a hypothermia state or a hyperventilative state. When we hyperventilate, it forces us more into hyperventilation, which stimulates the vagus nerve to shut things down to keep us alive, which is not in your best interest when you're in water because that will cause you to faint, pass out potentially. So don't do that. Make sure that you listen to some music, hum, sing, talk to somebody on the phone, make a video. And once you get used to it, it gets easier and easier and easier. I will tell you, if you're working on mental toughness, the hardest way to do that is by yourself. No cameras, no phones, no videos, no music. It is a silent experience of extreme meditation. Today, I'm outside nature bathing, so it feels great, and it's warm outside. The sun is out. I can hear the birds. I can hear the animals. There's a very mild breeze, but nothing excessive. And now I'm getting really used to this, so I can drop down even lower. My hands will be the last to get in, because once your hands get in, everything is connected. So I'm going to let my chest go down just a little bit deeper. Yeah, and I can feel that. I can feel a lot more restriction around my chest and the rib cage. So it does work. And if you have to ease into it, we've been in it now for more than 3 minutes, and I'm feeling great. But first timers, especially if you add 50 pounds of ice to this, you'll have to add about 50 pounds of ice to the NordPod in order to get it to about 50 degrees. About 50 pounds of ice, which is 2 jumbo tall bags of ice at your local gas station or grocery store. But it's going to take about 50 pounds in order to get everything up to the standard of temperature, if that's what you're really wanting to do. So now I'm going to put my hands under. Whew, yeah. And I'm going to continue to breathe and talk to you. If you have nobody to talk to, we're going to breathe in through our nose. We're going to hold it for just a few seconds, and we're going to blow out as long as we possibly can, as if we were pushing it through a chubby straw to drink a smoothie. So we're going to breathe in, hold, and blow out. And the idea, my friends, is to be able to push the breath out longer than you're breathing in. Because when we breathe in excessively, we breathe in way more oxygen than we exhale CO2, which creates an oxidative stress reaction. And that's what causes our ribs to expand. It is the number 3 cause of shoulder pain, is not breathing properly. So just working on breathing by itself is a really powerful thing. So again, we're going to breathe in and blow out after you hold. And you're going to keep doing that. If you have trouble with being lightheaded and dizzy, because that happens if you're not used to this type of breathing, then you can make those breaths a little bit shorter, but just always try and exhale a little bit more out than if you're breathing in. And make sure you're breathing in through your nose, because there are little fibers, little hairs. Here we go, under. Yeah, really, really cold. There are little hairs that filter the air that you breathe through your nose before it enters into your lungs, which is really important, because if you're breathing in a lot of stuff in the air and you're swallowing it, you're putting that crap in your body, and it creates a lot more pressure and a lot more problems on the rest of your system. So we've talked about breathing a little bit. I'm going to keep talking and breathing with you as I sink a little bit deeper, rest my head on this. Yep, and we're going to start to overflow here shortly. Okay, 9 NordPod benefits. We're going to start with soothing sore muscles. If you've been dealing with sore muscles, you've been weightlifting for the first time in a while, or you've done a major extreme event, a 5K, a mini marathon, a triathlon, whatever it is you're going to do, it's going to soothe sore muscles. And so it's going to do that by creating a pumping effect. It's going to push that lymphatic acid out of your system, and is going to cause a restriction of vessels, which is a good thing if you have an injury or if you are swollen from doing too much exercise. So it allows those tissues to heal instead of continuing to inflame, which takes pressure off of the nerves, which means you don't feel the same pain. So it alleviates soothing. It truly alleviates sore muscles. It also supports your immune system. How does it do that? We already talked about the nervous system being in a central nervous system as well as a parasympathetic, our autonomic nervous system, split between parasympathetic and sympathetic. And our immune system, when it is a constant state of sympathetic, which is the majority of you watching, the majority of the world is go, 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 ultimate stress, work, 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 no play, or they play and they're living a different mental lifestyle than what the rest of their life is able to keep up with. That can cause a hormonal difference in the brain. And when we have a hormonal shift in the brain, we become more fight or flight, which means we have more adrenaline, more cortisol, more norepinephrine, and we don't have as many happy hormones going off. So we have to make sure that we are allowing our cortisol and our go hormones to lower and to stop producing, because that is what causes autoimmune disease. That is what causes, it can cause cancer. It can cause multiple sclerosis. It can cause, there's more than 80 different autoimmune conditions, diseases that are documented, more than 80. And the difference between having an autoimmune problem and being in what they refer to as remission is your inflammatory stress hormones or inflammatory markers, which is a hormonal shift, because the hormones are the chemical messengers of the human body. And if we can shift our hormonal response to shutting the blood flow down a little bit and calming our mind down, we can trigger a good hormone response with our happy hormones, which releases dopamine, our oxytocin, serotonin, and our natural painkillers, which are the endorphins. So that's how we're able to support our immune system. We build resilience. It requires a tremendous amount of mental work in order to be able to look forward to an ice bath and look forward to thinking and breathing and getting ourselves through that. It truly builds mental and physical toughness, resilience. And resilience just happens, as we experience more and more challenges and resistance on the body, it forces us to adapt and adjust. And the body doesn't do that unless we shock it and we give it something it's not had before. We make a lot of changes. It boosts energy levels because we're reducing the inflammatory hormones. We might still be getting some adrenaline and norepinephrine, which naturally is going to wake your butt up in the morning because you're still in that restorative state. But when we get in and we get underneath the water, which is a more advanced protocol, it is go, 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 and energy levels surge to keep us alive. But when that happens, our happy hormones drop down just a little bit because it's a different energy system, different hormonal system. So we want to make sure if you're wanting to jumpstart your energy, that's what you do first thing in the morning. That's when it's best to get into your ice tub, your NordPod, first thing in the morning when you roll out of bed, or if you're on third shift and it's like noon when you get up, or if it's, after a practice and you're exhausted and you just want to like surge an extra little bout of energy, you can do an immersion, in order to wake things up and go, go, go. Metabolism, it improves overall metabolism. It optimizes your heart rate, your respiration rate. It enhances brown fat in the system, and brown fat is what improves overall metabolism and allows us to lose weight. So if you're wanting to lose weight and you're wanting to work on metabolism, brown fat loves cold water, loves it. And so that's how people are losing weight, by doing cold water immersion. It's going to improve your overall mood. It supports your mental health by improving mental health toughness, and you're in control. So you get out when you want to get out, you get in when you want to get in. And you have to learn how to manage that as you're going. So it does make a huge difference in how you feel about yourself, boosting confidence as you get better and better. And it does support mental health because of the hormones that are released when your body goes into a restorative state. Because of the hormone production, hormones are the chemical messengers of the body, we are also improving how our hair and how our skin is. So we're improving overall hair and skin health. And so we're getting more collagen. We're getting, it helps with imperfections. It's also enhancing your lymphatic system. And our lymphatic system, our greatest detox organ is our skin. So if we are reducing the toxins in our body and we're boosting our immune response, and we are boosting hormones, then the good hormones, then we are going to have an improvement in our skin, and people are going to call you and say that you're glowing like I've been glowing lately. So you can always tell when somebody is on the up in their life and things are going right and the stars are aligning, because they just have a natural glow when they move about. But it's the hormones and the confidence and the energy that does that. And when that happens, then your skin just naturally glows as well. But last but not least that I want to cover with you is sleep habits. So if you have trouble sleeping at night, a lot of people are doing ice or cold water therapy right before they go to bed because they're trying to get their body to calm down from being in a go, go, go state all day, every day. So if you are struggling with sleeping, a lot of sleeping problems happen because of inflammatory hormones, or because of stress, emotional, mental stress. So if you can go into a meditation It doesn't have to be at 50 degrees or 42 degrees. It can be at 60 degrees. It doesn't have to be even in cold water. You can just get in water. Water is very therapeutic, but it will reduce stress. It will reduce the mindset being on overload. It will change the chemical messengers of the body. It will change metabolism, and it will allow you to synchronize yourself into a relaxed state so that you can sleep. And the ideal time to sleep for optimal healing is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So that's when the greatest amount of human growth hormone, testosterone, releases to heal. It's when the body releases fat, and that's when everything just is great. So in bed, 10, up, like early. Like most yogis are up. Most people who are the most successful people in the world, they say, are up by 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's when the eyes and the breathing respond at its best. When the sun rises, is when the hormones become more stimulated through the light hitting our pupils and our eyes, stimulating the brain to respond. So that is a lot of information, but yours truly here in the NordPod, 3 feet diameter, about 2.5 feet tall, can fit somebody as heavy, or I'm sorry, can fit somebody as tall as 6'7". Empty, the NordPod weighs 6 pounds. Full, it weighs over 750. So you can't move it when it's full. You got to have that drain plug in. You can have it as low as -4 degrees, although I would actually want to see a picture of that. So if you go to -4 degrees, or if you go to an icy area, I would love for you to share your photos on our VIP group in our Facebook page or on Instagram. We like to be able to see what you're doing and how you're benefiting from your NordPod. It's got a capacity of over 100 gallons, 102 gallons to be specific, and it's made of PVC on the inside and ripstop polyester on the outside. So I've been in here long enough. Ideal therapy time is going to be 3 to 5 minutes, your first application if you're not familiar with it. And then the times thereafter, once you get used to it, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes is going to be about the max in order to get the hormonal and the inflammatory response that you're wanting. But I'll tell you, if you're not wanting to get in much more than 3 to 5 minutes at a time, you need, if you're wanting to dabble in cold water therapy, you absolutely need to make sure that you're getting about 12 minutes cumulative over the whole period of a week. So if you're getting 3 to 4 minutes, 4 or 5 days a week, that's all you need in order for what the science is showing, in order for your body to respond in a positive way in one of those 9 different benefits. But if you're not getting 11 to 12 minutes of cold water therapy at a level of 50 to 60 degrees, you're just tricking your brain, which is totally okay. But if you're wanting the physiological, effects, you're going to want to make sure that you're keeping that going at least a cumulative of 12 minutes a week, not 12 minutes per time, cumulative. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And that's when we see the greatest results for those who are new. As you get used to it, what we are learning is, especially for the senior citizen population, you want to make sure that you're not in for too long, because your nervous system is a little different, and your circulatory system, your central nervous system, is a little more challenged the older you get. So start out with less time. Let's max out at maybe 10 minutes and see how you do with that. Those of you who are go-getters, all in, let's 10x it. Let's, see what we can accomplish, because we're in our teens, 20s, 30s, even 40s. You can even be older, but it's an independent experience. It's an individualized experience. If you can get in for 20 minutes, that's when they're seeing the greatest return on the cryo or the cold water therapy is, 15 to 20 minutes. So, and again, be watching out for LifePro, because we're coming out with some more advanced pods, NordPods. We're coming out with some that are more elongated, more self-contained, have the chiller unit. You can use a chiller unit for these. They're electrical. Just be careful, because we don't want to, don't go create your own chill unit. Just go buy the ice. 50 pounds of ice, 2 ginormous bags, jumbo bags of ice will do it. So if you're filling up your ice chest, the same amount of ice that will fill up an ice chest will fill up this and get it down to 50 degrees, 50 to 55 degrees. Right now on Amazon LifePro, $99.99 is what it costs if you use the link provided, or if you type in Amber 10, AMBER 10, 10, it'll knock off an extra discount and you'll get it for $89. So remember to contact us if you have any questions, and look for more videos in the very near future, because I'm recording those this week, and covering the benefits, how to start as a beginner, how to interact at an intermediate level, an advanced level, um, contraindications, safety protocols. If you're wanting to do it specific to weight loss or fat loss, if you're wanting to do it because of anti-aging, for immunity boosting, because of injury, there's all different types of protocols. So I'm going to be creating extra videos like the series that we've done with our whole body vibration platforms, the 21-day challenge, or the 20, I think it was 24 days or 21 ways and 21 days to a better you. I'm creating that challenge, or that series of videos right now. You can only get in the tub so much, so it has to be chopped up a little bit, not just getting on a vibration platform, go, 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 go. We actually have to break it up because it actually affects the entire um, internal body pressure and temperature. So you have to take it in little doses, if you will. So I want to say thank you for watching today. At Life Pro here, we are here to serve you, to give you the resources, the tools, the products to be able to optimize performance, living your best life, mind, body, and spirit, full circle within our product line as well as within our expertise. So our board of directors, our educational advisors, our professional experts like myself are all carefully selected so that you get the absolute best feedback free on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. And we're here to help you in order to become the best version of yourself possible. Just remember, if you are wanting to share your story, or if you're wanting to see how other people are using cold water therapy for their own benefits and their stories, we all live a life worth telling a story about. So we want you to share your stories like I have shared mine. You might not think you're important, but we truly want to hear from you, because that's how we know how we're doing our job. And if you're one of those who is wanting improvements made to our products, we listen very closely, very carefully on what your interest is, because you're our customer, you're the audience. And if you're wanting a product that we don't offer, you're going to find it someplace else. If we can find a way to create that product, or innovate that product, or tweak it, spice it up a bit for you based on your feedback, because everybody's experience is different. We listen to our customers very, very closely. In fact, I've been with the company for over 5 years, and before we started innovating more and more and more stuff, I would create the Ember Squishy Ball, or I would create a certain cutout mat to work with our vibration platforms. And then our factory and our design team started to create the cookie cutter mat that went with the platform. They created the Ember Squishy Ball that now is a Life Pro Squishy Ball. So we're always fine tuning and tweaking our products to make all of you satisfied and happy, because everybody's level of satisfaction is so different as to what they're looking for, your experience levels, what you've had access to, what you've never had access to, what you're grateful for, what your goals are. And so it helps us if you share your stories on our VIP group in Facebook. So you want to make a reel and post it, tag us. Make sure that you tag Life Pro or tag me. I'll share it up the channel, but share your reels, share your videos. We'll reward you. We're going to give you a lot of love. So I want to say thank you on behalf of Life Pro for being here with me today. And stay tuned for more videos coming up very soon about the NordPod series of products that we're coming out with, as well as how to use, if you already have your own pod, or you already have your big water trough. I started with a water trough years ago on a family farm. If you're just wanting to learn about the benefits of cold water therapy, I've been in sports medicine over 20 years. So this is all part of my wheelhouse in how we work with making athletes perform at optimal levels, like running like Ferraris instead of Camaros. And so there's a whole maintenance process and treatment protocols that go along with that to keep them performing at better levels than any other type of individual out there, so that they can maximize their quality of life. You deserve the same treatment, you deserve the same resources, the same technology, and that's what we're here for. So stay tuned with us, learn more about some of these great benefits with cold water immersion, and if not anything, get to share a smile with you. So thanks for allowing me to share smiles with you and sharing some nature bathing, and I hope you have a wonderful day.